Hi guys, thank you for joining me once again for another talk on the magnificence of SR. And yes, you are seeing the Mangekyou Sharingan, which is activated and enhanced the longer you are on SR. You have enhanced perception, you're able to sense individuals' auras far more accurately. So you perceive the world around you with far greater precision. And it's very amazing when you fully realize the potential of your Sharingan and taking it, as I'd like to say, to the Mangekyou level, essentially your third eye, okay? And before I jump in and talk about the auric field and how we have to use this weapon for our protection and also the protection of others, I want to touch on the human energy field. And in her research paper, Karen Odell talked about the evidence surrounding the human energy field and how the heart is such a key, if not the most key component in the strengthening or weakening of said field. And when you compare the heart to other organs in the body, it's the most powerful with regards to its electromagnetic field compared to other organs in the body. And when you compare it directly to the brain, it's about 5,000 times more powerful. So it's a very potent part of our energy system. So we should be very cautious as to what we're feeling. A lot of us entering into semen retention might enter with certain emotions towards things, maybe towards women, towards other individuals. We should always look at our reasons for entering in on semen retention and understand that how we feel about it and how we feel about what we're trying to attain on it will either bring that thing into manifestation, whether it be positive or negative. So if you're approaching semen retention from a perspective of anger, you're feeling that in your heart, that's going to be amplified to the world around you, and people might push away from you. You may be, instead of getting maybe from females attraction, you get distance. They fear you more. Or arrogance. They think, oh, this person is thinking too high of himself compared to others. So we don't want to be too supercilious. We don't want to have these emotions. And again, this does tie into Hickman's consciousness scale, which I'll touch on as well, in relation to psychic attacks and how we can protect our aura. So we know that the heart is 5,000 times more powerful than the brain when it comes to this energy generation. And it's very interesting when you look at semen retention, and when you're visualizing things in meditation, you want to bring things into existence, whether that be financially or other things, how you feel about it. So you want to have positive feelings, feeling as though it's actually here and now will accelerate it. Okay. And so looking at this energy field, it's very interesting to see how the emotions can affect our energy field. And Dr. Konstantin Korotov came up with this device or this camera called the gas discharge visualization camera. And he was able to capture the auric field of different individuals. And it was very interesting to see how vivid and how thick and rich this auric field was when the person was in a state of positive emotion, happiness, joy, love. Conversely, when the person was feeling low emotional states or negative emotions, so anger, hatred, frustration, guilt, the auric field that he captured was far weaker, and it was a lot more hollow compared to the auric field of people in a positive emotional state. Very interesting. So we have evidence, okay, that supports the human energy field. It's almost as if, you might have smoked, or I used to back in the day at university, and you're with your friends and there's a nice vibe, there's a nice energy in the room, and then somebody just comes in and your vibe's just been killed, like Kendrick Lamar. You killed my vibe. What is a vibe? What is this energy? So we often use these terms and don't understand the weight behind it, right? Because we all carry a frequency. We all resonate at a certain frequency. We carry this to environments, and people can carry their energies to you and your environment. You see? So I've had instances where I'll be smoking and someone comes in and they're not quite on the same vibe, and it just, boom, they might come in drunk. after a night out at university and the vibe is just out the window, right? The energy is there. We talk about it and discuss these things, how we perceive individuals without them even speaking a word. We can sense it. So we understand that it exists, but we don't really look at the weight and the significance of it. So it's very key that we manage and strengthen our auric field. And semen retention does help to strengthen your auric field. It amplifies, the range of one's auric field. And in our previous talk, I looked at how upon this amplification, you're going to bring people into your life, whether positive or negative. You might bring in 10 out of 10 physically attractive women, which can be appealing. But remember now, you're coming from a place of fullness. The gonads are full, right? As within, so without. Remember, Hermes Trismegistus. And so you're exuding this fullness aura. So they're going to want to take, maybe in the form of draining your semen through sexual intercourse. People are going to want to take your time and energy because they are sensing. They might not even know what it is, but they're just sensing this person is rich of something. He's full of something. I need to have what he's having. They all want a piece of your energy pie. So we have to be very, very, very careful, and aware as to who we let into our space, lest we be attacked psychically. And semen retention gives you this heightened perception, energy reading ability, and you have to use that as a tool to bring people into your life who are going to enhance you and push you further, whether that be spiritually or towards your positive goals. And I want to bring in Dion Fortune's psychic self-defense. And in this book, she talks of the occult and the esoteric aspect of having a psychic self-defense system. And what is a psychic attack, basically? So whether unbeknownst to the individual, or maybe they are doing this with malicious intent, they are projecting negative energy towards you to bring your psychic energy field down so they can implement whatever it is they want to implement. And so sometimes people might constantly try to deride you or make sly comments about you and the energy that they are throwing at you, right? Maybe unbeknownst to them, that's a psychic attack. When you watch certain content online, that is also a psychic attack that makes you feel a certain way. News that fearmongers and gets you anxious, that's also a psychic attack. And if you bring in Hawkins' consciousness scale, some of the lowest on that consciousness scale is fear, anxiety, anger. And so when you watch a lot of media, that's all we see, doom. These are psychic attacks, constantly trying to keep you in a state of low vibration, fear of what is to come, right? Anxiety over potential job losses, So we have a multitude of areas with different entities that are constantly bombarding our auric field. So we have to learn how to negate that and allow certain things in that can enhance us and create a psychic barrier, right? To deflect and nullify these psychic attacks, whether that be from organizations, whether that be from groups or individuals, right? If somebody comes to you complaining, which is why me personally, if I hear somebody complaining, I always think in my mind, I'm not going to get in this state of mind like the complainer and jump on their bandwagon, because that's essentially a psychic attack and it's reducing me into a lower emotional state. So you have to learn how to negate that. And I just flip it and say, but look on the bright side. We always try to find a positive, So we must have very sharp and astute jurisdiction over our thought process, because our thought process is going to either amplify or reduce and weaken our auric field. And she mentions a mechanism that we can all incorporate, which is grounding. If you are close to a park, just go for a walk. Be in one with nature. Harmonize, with nature. Recalibrate, especially if you live in a big city and you're in the hustle and bustle of the corporate world. It's good to sometimes just deconnect from the city and reconnect with Mother Nature. Get that upgrade, okay? Touch the plants, talk to the trees, communicate with them, just feel the bark running through your hands. This is a very good way to reconnect with your higher self. In addition, of course, a lot of us on this spiritual journey will take into consideration meditation as our morning practice. It's very good because now we have far more awareness with regards to our thought processes. What are people trying to push on us, maybe unbeknownst to them? And we can create in our visualization sessions via meditation barriers. And she recommends creating a white protective field. And to be fair, the visualization method or the color of the field, it's up to you. So whatever color, but white is also a very good spiritual color to protect you from such attack. Okay, and this can be from people you know. It might even be friends unbeknownst to them. They're just constantly in a low vibrational state, doing low vibrational things, maybe constantly drinking, constantly smoking, eating processed foods too much, far too much, and maybe far more than you ever did. These things can affect their auric field, and what they project, if they even touch you or come into close contact with you, can mix and somewhat manipulate your auric field. So be very, very judicious as to who and what you let into your space. I'm not saying cut off your friends or your family, but just be aware. How is this person communicating? Are they always talking from a position of fear, anxiety, pessimism? These things are low vibrational, right? And if they are, and if there's somebody you're close with, just think, but let's think on the positive side. What can be a positive way to look at this? And then go into your mind and always think about your auric field. And if you feel some energy coming towards you, you can even visualize a shield to block the attack, and a sword to even cut down the attack if it's something directly and intentionally directed at you. Remember, we talked about the sword and how the sword in occult and esoteric circles represents masculinity. The sword also being a symbol for the phallus, okay, so the penis. So if you are on semen retention and you have more masculine force, more gonadic force, we know that the sword and what it symbolizes is its ability to slice and cut through the illusion and falsehoods. The longer you are on this retention streak, the more abundant in this masculine force you have. Thus, the greater the perception and the ability of your sword, your Sharingan, is to slice through the illusions, the falsehoods. Illusions maybe that might be presented in the form of a beautiful woman. And yes, we are constantly bombarded with women on Instagram, OnlyFans models on YouTube doing interviews. There's hyper sexualized content in and around us. Music videos, films, series. The Sharingan that you have activated and strengthened allows you to see the world for what it is. So you are not beguiled by a beautiful face, a small waistline, a big behind, or a plump upper chest. You look at this woman, you look at the individual and see who they are as a person. Your Sharingan is able to sense people's energies, so you make far more calculated decisions with regards to who you spend your time with, what you spend your time on. Is this really beneficial for my spiritual development? I also like to look at the observational skills that I have of myself and others when I'm in a social scenario, especially on extended periods of abstinence. I'm able to perceive, it's almost as if I'm out of my body while being in my body, and I can look at all parts of my body, my hands. Where are my hands positioned? What's my posture like? Where are my feet placed? How am I standing in general? And how are these other individuals standing, and what's their body language? And I can almost read, this person's slightly uncomfortable, but growing into the conversation. This person is feeling a bit nervous. They're far more within themselves. And I've noticed on longer periods, this ability, this aura sense and this perceptive ability is far more enhanced. It's almost as if things are going in slow motion. Thoughts come to your mind without even having to think for too long. You just pull from the ethereal plane. You just pull from the records, the spiritual records, essentially. So keep going, guys. Continue to work your Sharingan, get to the Mangekyo level, and it will continue to work wonders for you, bringing abundance and positivity into your life, okay? Again, it's not the days, but it's the days that count. So make them count. Until next time.